Welcome back to the Pedal Progressions podcast, where progression is the obsession. I am sitting here in the nice, warm Vi13 studio with my good friends Kellen Johnson, Craig Frazee. I'm Brian Zajac, and we are proud members of the Michigan Mid-Pack Media Group. Speaking of Michigan Mid-Pack Media Group, Trevor Gibney had a guest that we're having on ahead of us. He scooped the story, so we're going to have to come at it at a different angle. Yep, I know. Podcast beef. But Trevor is part of KOM Cycling, another one of our sponsors. Check out what they have online at komcycling.com. You can use discount code PPP15 and get discounts on all kinds of cool things. Also, Grilling Company. That was the new sponsor of last week, and Craig will tell you about what we have going on with them coming up.
Can confirm one of their snack sticks was spicier than I thought it was going to be, but delicious.
I almost died before the live stream, and I'll probably die later. Probably tomorrow morning at about 6 a.m., in fact. But Keith is great. He will be an upcoming guest on the podcast. They have not only barbecue brisket, barbecue pulled pork, all that stuff there to pick up and bring home for dinner. They also have a butcher shop and have raw meat you can buy. High quality stuff you can take home. And they have snack sticks, beef jerky, chicken. We're eating the chicken currently on the table. Also, 8th Day Gym. We talk about it a little bit on this episode about how great it is. I'll let you get to that point in the podcast and hear about how awesome it is. I was there earlier. Kicked my ass. It was great. Golf 616. Our buddy John. He has a great indoor golfing facility right by the Grilling Company. You could do both at the same time. It's great. TrackMan, indoor golfing. It's super fun. We'll probably have Pedal Progressions golf outing indoors. John mentioned it last time I talked to him. And then, of course, buildingblocksfoundationinc.org. Providing speech therapy to underserved populations in the Grand Rapids area, bridging the gap for kids that need a little extra help outside of what the school system can provide. Check out the scholarship program. Look at the website. Remember, buildingblocksfoundationinc.org. We have a couple events coming. It's a little heavier than last time Craig was here. You want to take this?
And I think there's one more sponsor that you want to mention.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Fancy.
And he might be standing right in the corner right now watching you give this read.
Yeah.
So don't mess it up.
This podcast is brought to you by a bunch of people that we really like what they do in passion. And it wasn't a planned out thing. And we exchanged coolness and recommendations for the sponsorship. But goodmedicinecoffee.com has heart and soul into the roasted coffee that they send out to people, and all great Google reviews.
small batch roasted, complete traceability in the sourcing of it. You can really feel good about what you're buying.
You can literally learn a story about every bean that you get from him. It is in the barcode on the bag, so you can learn everything about it. It's so much information that you can't even put it on the bag. You have to use a barcode to look it up.
Beautifully done. All right. We got a whole bunch on this list. First up, sounds like there's a Rays trip shaping up. That will be March 21st to 22nd. I will be on a cruise ship in New Zealand. So
with Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift will not be there unless she is a passenger. In which case, I hope she has her security because Shannon's going to try and get her her autograph. But my bike is up for grabs. If you want to borrow it, let me know. Keep up to date on Instagram or Facebook. I think there will probably be an event at the very least, an Instagram story with more details on that Rays trip. So once again, that is March 21st and 22nd. Next up, we have another live stream. We got a whole bunch of live streams. It's good to see. So Caitlin,
people like them.
Yeah, Caitlin and Mark from Mountain Bike Lynn. That will be March 11th, as always, at 7 p.m. Mark your calendars. Come invade our comments. We
It
love
makes it more fun.
It does. It really does. You get your questions answered right away. There's like zero lag there. Next up, we have one of our newer sponsors. So Keith and Big Drew from the Grilling Company are going to be coming on March 18th. And rumor has it, they have a big announcement.
It's true.
So you're going to want to log in, find us on Pedal Progression's YouTube channel, or follow the link in our social media on 318, and you're going to want to listen to the whole thing for that big announcement.
It will be pretty major, and Keith's a very popular guy, so we'll have a lot of meat enthusiasts watching that day. It might be less bike, more meat, but all good people.
Oh, man. Barbecue YouTube channels and the comment sections, it gets pretty rowdy. Everybody's got an opinion about how you should grill a steak or how you should smoke a brisket.
If you should add A1 to it.
I'm going to go on record and say Carolina-style barbecue sauce is the best.
We have another live stream coming up March 25th. You're not going to want to miss this one. This is Matt Acker and the legendary Jeff Jacoby. So that will be 7 p.m. as always here at the Vi13 Studios. I'm bummed I got to miss that one. Genuinely. You guys are going to have so much fun. You're not going to want to miss that on March 25th. Next up, we have Jamie of Torque MTB Clothing on April 8th, 7 p.m. Curious to learn more about Jamie?
5 p.m. his time. He's from Utah.
Awesome. So definitely jump in, support that. You'll want to learn more about Jamie. Next up, we have Matt and Braven of the Stewards of Stoke. So look for that one on April 29th, also at 7 p.m. Hope you guys are liking the live streams. We're enjoying doing them. Tune in if you can. Get into the comments. Kellen, where can they find out more about the Pedal Progressions podcast?
You can find us on Instagram at pedal_progressions_podcast. The link in the description will bring you to our merch store. Anything you buy in the merch store goes right back into the podcast to make it better. We love seeing our clothing on you. Help support us by buying clothes there. You can also email the show at pedalprogressions@gmail.com. Our guest today was a fan suggested.
On the Gmail.
On the Gmail. So, yeah, you have a suggestion for us, you want to see someone on, you want to just call us ugly or whatever, do it there. The best place for it. So without further ado, our guest today was Ryan Grenier. And best part about Ryan is he showed up with food and gifts. He walked in the door. He walked in the door with a freshly baked sourdough bread that was still warm out of the oven for us, that we all sat down and ate. Some of my favorite parts of our conversation, though, were talking about Gold Rush era bread, having a kegger at a bed and breakfast, close calls with dangerous animals, after party naked bike races, finding trolls in the woods, what makes a good coffee bean and how to make the best cup of joe, and weird reasons why Montana closes their roads. So without further ado, here's Ryan Grenier.
I'm testing.
You're there.
I just had some sourdough. I'm really happy.
There's a lot more. I'm happy
sour
I
about
threw
it?
my gloves away. So,
No, that's okay.
you know,
You can touch it. It's fine.
It used to be the tradition when my parents and I would go skiing near Harbor Springs, so like either Boyne Highlands or Nub's Knob. We'd leave and there was this French bakery and they'd always have 3 o'clock baguettes. And so we'd each get a baguette and just eat straight off the baguette. That's
awesome.
what that reminded me of.
Oh,
But
good.
This
All
is
right.
far superior to
oh, you're just
French white bread. So
Yeah, I didn't expect you to show up with freshly baked bread for us. It was still warm, too.
Yeah, I did that on purpose.
Man.
Yeah.
all the way
how
from
far do you-
Caledonia.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you keep it warm from Caledonia?
You don't want to know.
You sat on it.
Yeah, that was nice. Like, it's good bread.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So the story behind this bread, if you're interested, is so I used to train a baker in San Francisco, and he gave me a starter. I don't know if you guys know starters and sourdough, but this starter dated back to the Gold Rush days, and he gave it to me as a gift, and I started just making pancakes with the sourdough starter.
Huh.
And I always just kept it kind of in the back of my fridge, growing all kinds of weird, funky things, and every once in a while I just bring it back to life. And we ended up moving to Montana from San Francisco, and we bought this bed and breakfast right before COVID. It was really slow. We were kind of looking for an angle to kind of like get some social media attention, and I was like, oh man, let's bake sourdough bread for the lodge. And so I started baking bread for the lodge, and it turned out to be a big hit. But I was able to have that story of the gold rush sourdough starter and bringing it to Montana and our guests of the bed and breakfast. Which was pretty awesome.
How many people do you think still have a little bit of that starter and keep it still alive?
I try to give that away as much as possible, because I can't tell you how many times I've opened up my starter and it's like red, like from some sort of funky mold that started growing. And I'm like, this isn't good, and you can't bake with that. So I would have other people in the area, or make a quick call to get some of my starter back. So yeah, I don't know. I always try to have a couple backup spots of it, but I don't know how many. I give it to guess, So hopefully it's out there. People might even hear the story.
This bread you baked for us, was that the same starter, or is that
same starter?
Ooh.
Yeah.
He was getting rid of some of that red starter.
That's that red stuff.
I'm just kidding.
That's why you called me out. I didn't want to. I just ate before I came over here. I was like, I'm not going to eat that.
I did get a package of precious metals in the mail today, so I had Gold Rush sourdough, and I got some gold in the mail today.
So how did this Airbnb, or sorry, that might be an insult.
Well,
it
first
is
of
an
all,
actual bed and breakfast. Should we say his name?
Yes.
Who is this guy?
We're joined by Ryan Grenier.
That's right. Yeah.
I got to roll it. I mean, just because I can. Courtney can't. She gets all pissed because she's a speech therapist. Can't roll her R's.
Well, it's funny because, it's French. And when people are like, oh, Grenier. And I'm like, yeah. And they go to speak French to me. And I'm like, oh, I don't speak French. So I'm always like Grenier. Grenier.
I was in between the two. That's why I
Yeah.
asked you before we started recording. I'm like, because we just had a thing at work where a guy was calling this guy Gobert over and over again. I'm like, are you sure it's not Gobert? And he's like, oh no. He calls him on like Teams meetings this for weeks
That's
now.
so funny.
It's very embarrassed. So I was like, I'm going to ask because it could be Grenier.
Yeah. I'm pretty easy with that sort of stuff,
Tell us about this bed and breakfast.
All right.
How did you get started with that?
So,
Where in Montana?
right outside of Whitefish. Dang. And so in Whitefish, right outside of Glacier National Park, the story how we got into that was my wife and I were living in San Francisco, 20 years in the Bay Area. Both of us worked, downtown San Francisco. My wife was working much harder than I was, and she was in project management and hospital construction. And, young, blonde in the construction world with multiple projects around the city, like people were trying to like bowl over her. And, she was just like fight or flight all the time. And she kept saying to me, I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. I'm like, oh yeah, babe, you just, whatever you need, babe. I'm just like, yeah-ing her because I had a great job. I rode my bike to work every day, like an hour and 45 minutes to and from to like this beautiful social club. And I didn't have a client. I'd take a steam and a shower and a shave, I just go to the polo fields in San Francisco and, with my power meter and do my training and get home at 2:30, walk my dog. I mean, it was like living the life. Mm-hmm. And she was just like turning herself inside out. And finally she's like, dude, I'm done. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave San Francisco. I had the awesome thing going on. She's like, where do you want to live and how can we make it work? And we came up with this idea of buying a bed and breakfast without, carrying on too much. First, it was like some place in Vermont, and that didn't work out. Then it was Steamboat, and then that didn't work out. And then we ended up moving to Whitefish.
That's one of my favorite places, too.
It's pretty cool. I didn't want to leave there either.
I might need to know if you still have hookups there because
I do.
I've been getting bullied at home because the day we were supposed to go to Glacier Park, it snowed and then we got chased by a moose, and my girlfriend had been like building it up, building it up, building it up. That we're gonna do Glacier and do all this stuff, and we were there for like a total of like 4 hours. So
Yeah, weather happens,
and moose apparently.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about, so the cool thing about taking that bed and breakfast over was like, we, cashed in our retirement. We ended up, having a camp out of a tent, like no joke, with 2 kids, ages 2 and 6, and 2 huskies, off grid for 3 months, waiting for the business to close because we're reinvesting it into this huge business. And this wasn't just like a cute little bed and breakfast. This was a 10-room, like, we had a staff. I mean, and we ran it like, awesome coffee, and like we cooked everything to order, and we were just noobs, and we worked like it was crazy. And we bought right before COVID, and then everything like shut down, and Montana was like bananas, and we didn't even know. Like, I mean, my wife and I were just high-fiving each other. One of us taking care of the kids, the other one just running the business, and but yeah, that's how we got into like the bed and breakfast game.
Man, what is that like, putting all the chips in the middle?
Well,
with 2 kids.
we almost lost everything a couple times, and I was a one-trick pony before that. I mean, I was a personal trainer, bike racer, and that's all I cared about. That's all I did. Like, I didn't want to do anything else. So now, like, I go to Montana, and I'm just like, wow, okay, I have to like clean rooms. My wife's always, giving me a hard time for leaving a mess everywhere. How am I going to like do this, right?
Now you do it for 10 people or 10 rooms.
Yeah, right. And then things were breaking, and I had a guy in California who was a good friend of mine who helped me fix everything. And there, like, I didn't know how to do anything. I had to learn how to do everything. I had to like reinvent myself, which was like a blessing in disguise, because I could have seen myself like aging out of fitness and bike racing and just being this kind of like washed up old kind of guy who just remember years, but
I wonder what that's like. Go on.
That's pretty funny. So then, I had to reinvent myself and learn how to fix stuff. And I mean, I had to tear apart, like, I made buddies with my plumber, and our boiler broke, and he came over and he just dropped off all of his equipment, soldering stuff, and was like, text me if you have any questions. And I was just like, what? And like our business, like we're opening from our winter break or whatever. And I was just like, I got to figure out how to do this. I mean, I have a ton of stories, like having to figure that stuff out. But, you do. I had like, it's funny how struggle and just like, what am I going to do? Like how that adversity can really make you do like amazing things, And from before, I literally a one-trick pony. I mean, literally a one-trick pony. I didn't want to do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
How many years did you have the bed and breakfast?
4. So we bought right before COVID. We're up against the ropes for a while. And finally, my wife, again, was like, we can't do this anymore. Like we're just going like full tilt, and I didn't want to sell. I mean, I loved Montana. I mean, I loved what that business kind of helped me become. And I love to cook, and I mean, I was really into it, but like, I just wasn't a good business person to be able to. It was such a huge machine, and you can imagine, like when COVID hit and everyone wanted their refund, and we didn't have the money to give them back that money back. Like your reputation is everything in a business like that, and having those conversations with people being like, I'm sorry, I just don't have your money to give you, and how. Some people were, hey, when you get it, awesome. And some people were not cool. And they let me have it. And, but again, it's like you do what you got to do, to make it work. So 4 years later, my wife's like, let's sell. And I'm like, this is going to take years. And people are just like, bottom feeders are going to come out of the woodwork and try to like just rake us over the coals. But it sold instantly. I mean, like, which was awesome. And I'm actually really good friends with the guy who bought the lodge. I sell coffee to him and his other bed and breakfast in Jackson. But yeah, and then we're like, oh shit, where do we go? Like, we got 2 kids in school. It's summer. Like, we got to figure this out. We had no plan. And my wife's like, well, I got family in Michigan. So we loaded it all up and moved here, and that was like a little over 2 years ago now.
Man.
Yeah.
Quite the change. I was actually like less than 90 minutes from you when COVID happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got kind of trapped. We were backcountry skiing up there, and I was staying in Hope, Idaho at the time, so like just up Highway 2 over there.
Yeah.
And that was Idaho didn't really care, it stayed open for like another week, which was nice, and then we flew back by ourselves. Adam, Raphael, and myself just chilling on the way back. Nobody else on the plane.
That's cool. Yeah. And, Montana didn't care either, but, not knowing as a business owner what.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The bed and breakfast, too, with
right?
regulations and all that.
And they're like, oh, don't worry. You can be open for essential workers. But essential workers weren't staying at a place like ours,
Yeah.
And turned out Montana was one of those places that was open. So everyone, flocked to Montana. The people who wanted to be away from other people and the people who were just like, screw this, So then we had to kind of navigate that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it was more of kind of a blessing in disguise that people are flocking to Montana though?
Yeah, I mean, it's what kept our doors open for as long as it did, because but what we should have done is, charge more for our rooms. And we just and I was, just disconnected because I think one of my reflecting, I'm just kind of like a doer. I see my task and I can get it done no matter what. I don't have that big picture, and that's the one regret I have about that is I wish I plugged in more, because I put all that pressure on my wife, which was a lot of pressure, but we can't, good stories, can't, we ended up landing on our feet, thought we were gonna be homeless for a bit, but
I mean, all the best stories in life kind of come from adversity.
Yeah.
And it always is the worst thing in the world in the moment, but when you come away from it, it's where you learn your lessons and to make the best stories later.
Yeah.
And although comfort is nice, it leads to complacency, and
agreed.
I think humans are meant to be tested a little bit, and we're the best problem solvers on earth for a reason, because we can make things happen and get through things.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you working in a bed or owning a bed and breakfast, having a new guest every night for, what, you said 4 years you did that?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've had some interesting guests that have stayed with you. Do you have any funny stories or one of those things who are these people?
Great question, Kellen.
I think I was probably the weird one.
you were the weird one?
I was the weird one.
They're who is this guy I'm staying with?
Well, one time we had these two guys showed up with these I don't know, hookers, I guess.
Escorts.
Ladies of the night.
Ladies of the evening. Sorry.
Being a biker guy, I thought I was going to say these two guys showed up with dirty bikes and they tried to store them in the bathtub.
You would not believe how loud somebody at the front desk can get when you walk into a hotel with a dirty bike.
How funny. But and I guess I can, our marketing might have been the best, because they came to stay with us based off of our videos, and but we just were not that kind of spot, so that was kind of funny. But everyone else was just they came, they kind of did their thing. They were probably a little bit hesitant of staying at a bed and breakfast, because you think of grandma's house, and that's not how I am.
No.
I remember the funny story was my buddy had a keg party, and he's like, Ryan, do you want this keg? The rest, you can give it to your guests or whatever, because, the party was done. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So this couple shows up, and the husband's just anti. He's just bed and breakfast, this is going to be lame. And I'm giving everyone the tour, I love talking. And I'm like, yeah, you guys are welcome to this keg. It's on the back porch. And his eyes just lit up. And it was all of a sudden, he's like, bed and breakfasts are the best. But yeah, we had, I think the biggest thing about that bed and breakfast, which, I didn't even think about even sharing with you guys, was the previous owners tried to strong arm us into holding our loan. So we are completely funded by the SBA, and they were refusing to turn in their tax returns because of, I don't know if they're messing with the books or what, but the window was closing for when we had to have this paperwork done, and they weren't giving it to us. So we were going to lose our loan. Hindsight being what it was, we should have sued them for breach of contract. But you can imagine camping for 3 months with a 2 and 6-year-olds off grid, having to hike up to the hill to get cell phone service. We were pretty beat, and then our real estate attorney, he rode bikes and a super nice guy. And he was saying to me, Ryan, this is not a good deal. Don't take this deal. And we were just so like, oh, I just want this to be done. We just want to be in this place, and he held us to the fire about like having them rewrite this contract. So it was basically I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the actual like terms in the contract, but basically if we didn't pay our loan for 30 days, they would be able to take the property back. Like breach of contract and a deed of trust is what they call it.
I'm trying to think of what it is.
Yeah.
It's really popular in Tennessee to get land that way.
Yeah. So, and thank goodness that
Land contract.
Yeah. Or like I think it was like a deed of trust. And then there's, anyway, there's 2. And he's like, we're going to rewrite this and, we're going to threaten to sue them if they don't take these terms because they're trying to rewrite this deal last minute. So we did, thank goodness, because then all of a sudden 3 months later, like COVID hit and we couldn't pay them either, and they were sending us scary letters. I was getting served by the courts, about like not paying our more. I mean, it was like just the scariest thing because I was just like a personal trainer, like trying to just like figure this out, but luckily it all worked out. Even selling the business, they tried to stop that because they wanted us to default so they could take the property back. Yeah. I mean, there's just like, I tell people this all the time, like everyone has the best intentions. Yeah. But until they don't, so, it's like have it in writing, take the extra steps because, people are not afraid to step on you, it's a thing.
You wonder if some of that was they regretted selling it.
They were old.
Oh, so they were done.
They were done. I really think, I remember him saying to me, in Montana here, we do business by a handshake, and even then I was just like, you got
awful too many lawyers for just that handshake deal.
And the worst part about it was like their lawyers were not versed in like how real estate, like in these terms worked. Cause, I had to get a bankruptcy attorney. I had to get like, and we're all just these like, this is bullshit. They're just, they're wrong. You take them to court. This does not stand up. These terms say this and they're trying to do this. They just don't know. So it's like their stupidity was getting in the way. But luckily, again, it worked out, so we got out of there. I do miss Montana. It's the coolest place, man. Yeah. I used to go riding gravel a lot. Right from the lodge, head up Whitefish Mountain and these beautiful dirt roads and, grizzly bears are a thing. Right. And my biggest fear was like bombing some single track, even on my mountain bike, just ripping, going for it. And then imagine running into a bear with your hands on the bars, like even trying to stop. Like, what are you going to do? You can't pull out your bear spray at that point, So I actually started running around with a 10mm pistol strapped to my chest.
I bet that's more common than people think.
It's funny because like there's 2 schools of thought, right? There's people like bear spray. It works. You're not going to piss them off. You're probably going to be so freaked out that you're not going to be able to shoot the bear anyway. Like there's that. And then I'm out there by myself. Like if I'm going to run into a bear, like I'm going to unload that clip.
Yeah.
And I would be screaming and yelling. And the cool thing about that was all the runners got off the trail because they'd hear me coming, which is awesome.
That moose incident is why I carry a pistol.
Yeah.
With, it chased us. So my thought is like, if I ever ran into a bear, like I'm just going to piss it off with a 9mm. Then I got a 45. But It's fire a warning shot and hope it gets scared, and if it doesn't, then we're gonna drop the other.
I think the thing a lot of people don't realize about bear spray is wind is a thing. There's a good chance you're gonna spray yourself too, and now there's two of you are blind, and the bear and you,
And it's pissed.
and you're both pissed off now.
So I was just gonna say we'd have guests coming to the lodge, and we had a huge bin of bear spray that they could take with them, and I love kind of like talking the story up of what you do when you see a bear, and kind of put on a little show for the guests, and I got a kick out of it, they got a kick out of it, but I can't tell you how many times they'd be on this trail with nowhere to go, and all of a sudden there's a bear trotting on down the trail, and they're just like, do I pull my bear spray out? What do I do? Luckily, like a lot of times it kind of just mosey on and never cause problems, you know. But yeah, man, it's a real deal out there, And then you had the mountain lions. I saw mountain lions and grizzly bears.
The big debate in our friend group with like Doug Kyle and stuff is what's the thing you don't want to see in the woods? And I was always big cat, freaks me out. I've been around 2 deaths with biking, well, one was a runner, but the other was a biker, where they've closed trails where I've been because of it. And then Doug Kyle's terrified of bears, and like riding at Whistler and stuff, you just see bears, whatever, snowshoe. And then the other one's poisonous snake. Like, if of the 3 things, what's the thing that you don't want to see in the woods? And I would argue that you won't see the cat, you just won't be alive anymore.
I remember, I saw mountain lions numerous times. I'd be just like climbing up, just taking my time, coming out of the lodge, and I'd look over to my left, and I'd just see this like dead animal carcass hanging out of a tree. Like they carry their dead animals up into the trees.
Oh, that's Maria.
And a lot of times I would try to sneak out either between my shift and the sun would be setting. It's like the worst time to go out. I'd come up this big intersection, I'd see this thing just jumping into the woods. I'd be like, oh shit, but yeah, before I was like, oh, I gotta go ride. Oh, I'm tired. It's like cold out. And then when I was in Montana, it was like, all right, I need my emergency beacon, my pistol. I need my fix-it kit. I was like, felt like I was like going to war,
Go out with a light on, and you just see all the eyes shining back with your helmet light.
I remember one time I went out, and, my wife, never answers her phone, and whenever I call when I'm on a ride, she knows something happened. And one time I was just bombing, on my gravel bike, down in the drops, just big ring, as fast as I could. My carbon handlebar cracked, and I ate shit so hard. And, it was getting dark, and I'm just like, okay. So you gut up, and I'm like, I've crashed enough times where I've been like, okay, am I all right? You're like kind of like doing this self-check.
Yep.
Like
collarbone, teeth.
how bad am I? And then how am I going to get the fuck out of here? And I'm calling my wife. She's like, well, where are you? I'm like, oh, fuck. How am I going to tell her, how to find me, but yeah, I luckily got out of there, but boy, man, that one was a bad one, I've separated this shoulder a bunch of times and it goes out a bunch, but that one was like my hip and my knee. And luckily my pistol didn't go off. I kept, around in the chamber, cause you never know. But I had that hard case, I think it's, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, they should get a plug, Absolutely.
So talking a little bit about biking, since we're a bike podcast.
Yeah.
And you were a bike racer when you were in San Francisco.
Yeah.
What type of riding was your jam? What's your
All right. Well,
what's your backstory on biking?
So my backstory on biking, I actually started racing bikes in the early 90s in Maine. So born in D.C., moved to Maine when I was in 6th grade.
Where in Maine?
Yarmouth, right outside of Portland.
We last guest on the podcast had a bed and breakfast in Rangeley.
I heard it was an excellent episode, by the way. I've been catching up. I thought that was super cool, But so mountain biking in Maine, and I was, I guess, really, I don't want to say really good at a young age, but I was, ADHD, dyslexic, and I moved to Maine from Washington, D.C., no friends, made fun of, And at the school I was at, I was just not included. And biking was my vessel to like open the doors of getting out of the area. So started mountain biking, and then I did pretty well all through high school. Ended up racing bikes for Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. And ended up, Tommy Danielson, I don't know, he's like, Tommy, but he was a Tour de France rider. He was a freshman when I was there.
There's a dual slalom guy that was really good from Chicago that went to that school that's probably about our same age-ish. I can't blanking on his name.
Well, you look like, what, mid-30s?
45.
Oh, man, the years have been kind, man. You look good.
Gingers don't crack.
They don't? I guess not, But then, it's funny because my freshman year, I did okay, but I was like, man, I just, want, girls don't like skinny dudes. I'm going to get into like lifting weights, getting into the gym, and so I kind of hung up my bike and started like pursuing exercise science, graduated with that degree, moved to San Francisco to get into fitness and coaching. And then I saw like my life flashing before my eyes. I was telling the stories of, oh man, I used to race bikes for Fort Lewis, and like, I should just get back into that, like why not? And like just with my personality, just go all in, 100%. And so cyclocross, mountain biking, those are my
When you say mountain, I assume you mean XC?
I'd say, yeah, I guess so. XC.
I was going to ask if I raced Mount Snow downhill in like 2000 and 2001. I was out that way.
The naked crit races? Did you see those?
No, I was strictly downhill slalom guy at the time.
All right.
So,
well, Mount Snow, when they had the World Cup there, I can't remember when that was. It was probably like 90.
That was before.
Yeah, it was
because I was Norba when we were there.
Yeah.
I hated the downhill course at Mount Snow.
Dude, I remember
the yard sale or whatever the hell. It was like this janky and this is no flow on a hardtail with like a 100 mil fork downhill bike. And it's got like a famous name, but it was the worst thing ever to try to go through. It was terrible.
I remember their cross country course was awful. It was like all off camber, wet, muddy
New
roots.
England rocks,
Yes.
so like mossy, slippery.
Oh, it was awful.
On tires with like a 90 durometer that was like a knobby like Tioga tire that was harder than a road tire is now.
Yep.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
It sounds really fun.
The cool thing about that race was in the parking lot in the evening, like where everyone was camping, they had the naked crit races. So there'd be like all these cars that pull up in this like gravel parking lot, and then all the dudes would be drinking, and it was just this naked race of all these dudes running around and drinking, and people are crashing, and then it's the women's race, and like no women are doing it, so they just keep passing the bucket around with money. I think it got up to like $500 and like a case of beer, and like Missy Giove ended up coming out there and doing it, and one girl did it with like a beer box over her head, and it's just like it's pretty awesome. But
I can picture Leigh Donovan doing something like that back in the day. She was pretty wild in those days.
Yeah, that was like that was pretty awesome. But I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, my story of getting into biking. So cross country, yes. But, I liked pedally downhill stuff. I raced Downeyville a couple times. We got some big, like some real terrain in Northern California. But the thing to do would be like hit it at night when everything was closed. Right, so we'd drop into like Muir Woods, night riding. We'd have like parties and like to 3-4 in the morning. Everyone's hiding like barbecue stuff and like trash cans and hidden around the mountain. And we just go mountain biking and just like party until like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Sometimes like riding bikes around. Dude, it was the coolest thing. And every Thursday night we had this group called TNR, and we would just meet at 8 o'clock and just ride bikes all night on all the I guess the East Bay regional hills. That's where I lived in Oakland, and all those parks were connected. There's some like legit riding, some good stories that, I want to make sure that it's, age appropriate, so I won't share them all.
That's where Taggart's used to live, is that East Bay / Tahoe area. That's where, Dave Taggart used to got his cut his teeth.
Mm.
I don't know. I never had gotten past in Northern California. I've never been past Mammoth. Like that's as far as we ever went because
Yeah.
that's as far as we needed to go. Like I never made it to Sea Otter. I always wanted to make it to Sea Otter, but it just never worked out.
You know, Sea Otter is cool. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's a circus. You know? I got to race. You know, their cyclocross race. That was kind of like my thing there. It's kind of a weird timing, but you know, I was always like a bigger rider. So once it came, I could do well expert class in cross country. You know, I did well expert class cross country. But cyclocross, I could be bigger and still be able to, you know, be consistent on the podium.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like what I liked, you know.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is it more of an advantage in cyclocross than?
Because you don't have to go uphill,
Gotcha.
you know, because like the whole strength to weight ratio
Mm-hmm.
thing, as soon as you start going uphill, like that's when your body weight is the thing. I mean, I could literally look at, and this, you know, I eat, breathe, slept, trained, coaches, nutritionist. I mean, I've exhausted everything to try to like just eke out the best possible me. And I remember looking at those like power charts and being like, if I can just weigh this much, I can be this good, you know? And then all of a sudden you're just like not really good because you're losing your strength and it's like you're too light. So, you know, just that balancing act and figuring it out, you know, and you know, my best results, I was always just so exhausted all the time, you know, like I never felt good ever, you know. It's like it's just the life of like what it takes, but I'm glad I did it, you know, like, and now I'm like making a comeback, you know.
What does that entail?
Well, I don't know, I got hooked up with these Michigan dirt riders. I don't know if you guys know those guys, but
Yeah.
you know, they're pretty fast and they've been nice enough to kind of invite me along, and I like being pushed, I like being chased, and I think that camaraderie is what I'm looking for now, because when I was racing, it was all just alone, power meter, polo fields, alone rides, and every once in a while I sprinkle in some fun stuff. But you know, once I transitioned into, you know, trying to, you know, to be the best that I could be, and I had that as my vision, there was no social aspect to it.
Yeah.
You know.
You're one mentally tough human being. If you did that kind of training at that level for that long solo, that's got to mean something.
Well, that I feel is funny because as I learn more about like myself as I age, you know, and ADHD and being dyslexic, I mean, it really is like a superpower, you know, learning how to just like just plug into something and just can't see anything else besides like what you see in front of you. And that was cycling, nutrition, conditioning. I mean, that was it. Like that's all I cared about. You know, my wife probably almost left me, I don't know how many times, you know.
She'll let you know after she listens.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, she knows. I'm probably like, you know, bringing up some, you know, trigger conversations here, but you know, it was all just about like, oh well, yeah, sure, babe, I'll hang out for a little bit, but when do you think I can go do my 5-6 hour ride?
I am dealing with this currently. Before you got here, we were leaving for Florida, and this will be the first time I've flown somewhere without a bike in, I don't know, 15 years probably. Like this is a strict. We're hanging out with family, and that's what we are doing.
So let me ask you this: like, how are you supposed to take care of other people if you can't take care of yourself? Right?
Valid point.
I'm gonna give her this one.
All right, I'm just kidding.
I want to go to a stage race later this year, and I've already gotten talked out of going to Scotland for the big stage race.
I've heard about that. Well, I heard about you getting talked out of it, like it was shut down. So
It was shut down.
Yeah.
Next year, I think it can happen, but now I got my sights set on New Mexico. I think I have to sign up by Saturday, or the price goes up $100.
wow.
Another stage race?
It is a cross country stage race, but it's like everyone's on down country or like down country or trail bikes for the most part. It's a lot of climbing, but I mean that's probably my biggest strength in biking is climbing, but it's like a lot of bike park stages too. So it's a lot of berms and pretty rough stuff. So like the down country bike will excel. It's 3 days, and I think it's like 100 miles over 3 days with, I don't know, I think it's 4,000, 5,000 feet of climbing a day.
That sounds super cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not. If I sign up by Saturday, I think it's $3.99 to do it for 3 days, which is not that bad, considering you can go race like the Barry or Iceman for like $150 for like
So,
30 miles.
let me ask you, and it's funny because I've been listening to your podcast and like wanting to do research on like just what you guys are about and what you're into, and so where's your direction with cycling? What's your motivation? What's I don't want to say that you're in the autumn of your cycling career because you look so good.
I'm in a weird spot.
So what? Tell me. Like
If I race elite, I kind of get my face kicked in a little bit, but if I race 40 and over expert, I'm a sandbagger. So it's kind of this weird gray area where it's like I don't know what to do, but if I do these like big open races and I can get top half, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm continuously getting in that upper half of this full age group open, I'll be good. But basically it's just to be a little bit better every year and to like know what strengths to like lean on and what you can give up to gain that strength, and like just try to get better by averaging out the difference. Where like younger I was pretty crazy and would take all kinds of risks, but now it's a matter of being in good shape and not making mistakes as an old man. Because one, it sucks to fall as you get older.
Yeah. Yeah.
And two, you like learn that every time you make a mistake, it's just like adds up over and over and over again. If you just don't make mistakes and go a little bit slower, you're always going to come out ahead.
Yeah.
You guys?
Oh man, I'm in a weird spot too. So I lived in Washington for a number of years and got real big into downhill racing there, and it was extremely easy for me to find the motivation to go out for a ride because it was 20 minutes into the mountains and you're in for an hour and a half of gorgeous views, some of the best terrain and dirt, and it was like automatic. That's all I thought about all day. And so family and a lot of other factors brought me back here, and it's been awesome. I have more friends here than I did out in Washington, I think. But
How long have you been living here?
Oh, this will be year 4
Okay.
in the summertime. So 3.5 years. And I struggle to find the motivation at times to go out and put in miles that I know are going to help me. And was just in Tennessee this past weekend. It's catching up. You can see people where you're like, oh, I used to be kind of close to their wheel on this type of terrain. And now I had to click. I have a Spring Dex, which is an adjustable coil spring on my downhill bike, and we had to go up 20 pounds on that coil spring, and that's a hard noise when that thing clicks over into a higher coil rate. It's like, okay, we got to put the foot down. You gotta figure out what you want to do. So I've tossed around the idea of entering some of the things like Yankee Springs time trial just as a line in the sand or a goal and something to work towards. So I think that's probably what's on the docket for me this year is maybe my first ever XC race.
You want to go to the New Mexico and do the short version of the one I'm doing?
How long is that?
I think it's like 33% shorter on every stage with quite a bit less climbing.
Sounds interesting. But the bottom line here is I used to not train in any other way other than riding. And now that I'm not really riding as much, I'm feeling the effects of it. So got to figure something out here this summer.
Well, I love coffee and talking and fitness coaching. That was like my thing. So I'm happy to like just, bounce some stuff off you, get you stoked, because I think a lot of people think it has to be like all or nothing. And that's just not the case. Like I had some like health hip issues going on, and I'm like, I can't like cash in my ability now. I mean, like, I just am not ready to do that, so just like setting a pattern and just figuring it out and just, just gotta, don't wait too long, man. You know, like don't wait too long because it's hard to catch back up.
Yeah.
I just heard it today. I watched a YouTube video about something else. It was probably business or one of those things. And the guy goes, don't let a slip turn into a fall. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I think I'm falling a little bit right now.
Yeah.
For me, like breaking up and separating that I don't train on my bike anymore. Like I just don't. I only ride my bike for fun, even if it's a Zwift race or whatever. I'm having fun doing that, like, and I'm never training on my bike, and I do the stupid CrossFit and the high rock stuff. But that's fun to me because, like, I separate that pain and suffering to that sport, and it doesn't affect me negatively. Like, I never dread going out and doing intervals because I don't do them. I do them in the gym with a bunch of scantily clad females and throwing weights around, and it works out. I'm not going to suck at that. I'm going to try my hardest.
Yeah.
Like,
Kind of look good for them.
so then I get back on the bike, and it, like, translates really well. But, like, I had to separate the two because training on my bike just made me hate it.
Yeah, I think you'll relate to me a bit when, like you said, that you can get hyper focused on something. I tend to do that with my bike stuff. Like for a couple of years, I was known as the wheelie or manual guy. Like I got really good at that, and then after that, I got really good at like big jumps. Like I was the big jump guy. And last year, I decided I was just going to get really good at riding miles. I had a 5,500 mile year, and I got 2 young kids too to take up my time. So just get really hyper focused on something, and that's kind of what I stick to. This winter, I actually took the winter off my trainer, my bike. I haven't rode it much at all. I actually kind of got hyper focused in the hockey. I got a pond in my property.
Oh, super cool.
Turned that into a little pond ice rink, trying to get my kids into it. Been going to the ice rink just for like puck and stick play days, just playing that with my kids. So I'm sure once spring comes around and get back in the bike, I'll get hyper focused into some part of it. I don't know what it's going to be yet. But I'm the same way as you are. Just you get super hyper focused on one thing, and that's what I stick to. I'm sure these guys can agree with me. I was known as this guy for a while. Now I was known as this other guy for a while. I just get real hyper focused on one thing. I don't know what my next thing is gonna be, but it's always something. I'm like, I'm all in for this right now.
How old are your kids?
6 and 8.
Okay. And do they do the Graha at all, or Patterson?
No, I live over towards between Rockford and Cedar Springs area. So there's a little ice rink over there, Cedar Rock. It's like 10 minutes down the road from me, so we go there all the time. Okay. And
my 8-year-old does Graha, and I'm traveling a lot with him to hockey, like Rockford, and like hockey tournaments. And, it's like a thing, and I don't play hockey.
I haven't played hockey in my life till this year. Then suddenly I'm like, I'm gonna make an ice rink on my pond, and then I started getting into it and trying to get my kids into it, and trying to get my oldest into a sport. He played soccer for a while, decided he didn't like it, so we keep trying to say, well, you want to try this, you want to try that, you want to try this, and
how old is he?
He's 8.
Okay.
So
that's your oldest.
That's my oldest. Yeah. So he's showing some interest in hockey. Sometimes it takes some nudging to get him to do some stuff, but I really like it. Like, I was actually looking online today, like, oh, they have, like, beginner adult hockey leagues. Like, sounds fun to me. I'll do that, But if I can get my kid into doing something, too, like, oh, let's go play hockey together, I think that'd be a lot of fun. But, yeah, same thing. I'll get hyper-focused on one thing, and then suddenly one day I'm like, no, I'm ready for something new, and just get hyper-focused on something new.
We got to get him back to Ray's or Mike's in the near future. I know Stephanie Klein is trying to plan a trip to Ray's in the next, 2 weeks or 4 weeks. It's one of the two. Yeah.
The one thing both my kids really like is biking. That's one thing they've always constantly loved, getting on bikes, riding it. So that is the one sport I can get them both into pretty easily.
His daughter was the biggest shit talker at 3 years old.
She still is at 6 years old.
She'd sit on his shotgun and yell at people to get out of the way. We'd be passing people at Canonsburg, like, move, you're slow.
Oh, yeah, funny. Yeah. Sitting on the front of my handlebars, riding trails, just yelling at other people to get out of the way.
That's awesome.
Which it's surprisingly funny how well you can climb hills when you got an extra 30 pounds sitting on your handlebars, because that front wheel doesn't want to come up, and it lets you power up hills. So
that's cool.
You pass people on hills and like, what just passed me? And she's shit talking the whole time as we're passing on hills. You're slow, get out of the way.
When my kids are 13 and 8, and it's just enough of a span where it's like the divide and conquer, and the oldest one is bored and he wants to be with the younger one. The younger one can't do anything, so it's just constantly this compromise, of like just not being able to go have fun. And it's just turned into like snacks and not doing things. And we're finally getting to the point where it's like, they're both able to go out there and do it. But so
Which kid does coyotes?
both of them.
Both of them?
Yeah. Both
You
of them.
need to get on this race trip with us.
Which race trip is that? The New Mexico one?
No, Ray's like
Oh.
indoor mountain bike park.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I'm embarrassed that I know you guys are like into dirt jumps and jumping bikes, and I'm like keep my wheels on the ground for the most part. But I can I feel like I can kind of push it some.
It's all technique.
Yeah. So, do you use a special bike for that?
Usually a dirt jumper.
Yeah.
It works best, but it's not necessary. More and more you see people on like other style bikes there, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, last time we were there, it was a snowstorm and there was nobody else there. It was awkward, honestly.
That sounds cool.
It's too quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like when I used to go when Courtney had her surgery last year. I'd go and I'd be like one of 2 people in there. You like hear a pin drop.
How far away is that?
4:15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth the trip though, especially for kids. Like I recommend it so much. Any kid that's like getting into racing, being able to carry speed and pump and hit berms and like have that kind of fun, it's like immediately gonna make them 25% faster when they get on the trail.
That right there is enough for me to like, yeah, absolutely.
It's like free speed, and it gets you engaged with the trail more than just riding it.
You smile
That
more.
makes sense. Yeah.
While you're riding.
Yeah.
It's less work and more smile.
When you're out there looking for doubles or how you're going to pump the backside of something or rip this turn, you feel more engaged. Definitely.
Yeah, my kids were, I guess, my oldest was in his formative cycling years when we were living in Montana, and the only there was some stuff, but it was like up. There was like lots of pedaling.
There's a chairlift there.
That is true.
I got a job offer to go to work there.
But I living in San Francisco, you just bike everywhere. You bike to the trailhead. I never got in my car, and I had this thing when I moved to Montana. I was like, I just don't want to get in my car to go ride my bike, So I would make my kids. I'd make them bike to the trailhead too, And unfortunately, it sucked for them, but I was toughing them up. I did have this super cool e-cargo bike. And dude, that thing was awesome. I had it in the Bay Area and I brought it out to Whitefish, and I could literally bungee cord both my kids' bikes onto it, and they would hop on and we'd head up the mountain and go huckleberry picking. And we'd, when they were really young, I would hide these little trolls carrying rocks, and if their heart was in the right place and they didn't beat up on their brother too much, the trolls would find them. And I would stash them I'm like, guys, do you feel that? I think this is a magical spot. And that would set them up to find these trolls. And they always wanted to go hunt trolls, which was super cool. But then it was the one day my kid found my troll stash in my drawer, and he's like, Dad, I found these. And he's totally caught me red-handed. Yeah. And my quick response was, those are the ones that I found.
Yeah, my heart was in the right place.
And I just
Santa Claus left them for me.
I just didn't want you guys to take them from me because they're the ones I found. And it just clicked. He's like, yeah, I get it. He gave it to me back. So I don't know if they still believe in that, but yeah, but that e-cargo bike was awesome.
There's trolls at Cannonsburg.
Yeah, every time I see one, I'm going to remember that story now.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart's in the right place.
Yeah. Because, 2 boys at this fancy bed and breakfast, they would scream and yell. I'm like, oh, my God, you guys can't do that here. We had it was a fancy spot. We have guests and these 2 wild animals.
Yeah.
So I had to get them out of the house all the time. It'd be like freezing rain, and we'd be out looking for mushrooms and trolls and whatever, we'd find antler sheds. We found a bow, a huge bow, a compound bow one time. We just find random stuff. We were always out there, and we had 2 huskies, and they didn't want to be left alone because then they would howl, and then that would be an issue. So it was
you got to tie parachutes to the back of them and be like, if you run fast enough, you'll fly. Just keep trying. Those training parachutes.
I used to train with those. Yeah, I know those.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Better wear a kid out. You're almost there. I saw you starting to lift up. You just need to go a little bit faster.
I used to train with a guy who was on the 92 Olympic soccer team. And he's the one that introduced me to all that, like, really cool small training apparatus stuff. And, we were out on the Embarcadero in San Francisco, like, running with parachutes and, like, the power sprinters and, just all kinds of, silly look at me stuff. You know? Yeah, I have lots of opinions on training and conditioning, but I'm that old crotchety guy now, judging the shit out of everybody else.
So you're not doing the CrossFit Open this week?
No, I didn't know about it.
Tomorrow the workout gets released, guys.
Oh,
I'm gonna get my ass kicked
What?
because I'm a scaled kind of guy. I'm gonna die tomorrow. That's what's
Yeah,
gonna
you probably
happen.
will, man.
And this
Yeah.
is the one that it's like nationwide. You just have to do
Worldwide.
it at a CrossFit
Oh, wow.
gym, and your time, since it's the exact same workout, I think your
You
time,
qualify, yeah. You gotta be up in the certain percentage or whatever. But so what it is, like our sponsor, 8th Day Gym,
Shout out.
they everyone that wants to do it puts their name on a like Excel spreadsheet, and a bunch of the coaches like Michael and Ryan that came in, they would be captains, and they draft everyone like a drunken, I don't know what they drink. They probably drink protein shakes, not beer. But then they have they do a draft and they pick all the players and they make these teams, and then like the shit talk starts. Like, so my whole phone is blowing up with like AI images of the teams ripping each other's heads off with barbells and stuff. But then the scores all add up, and like the team at the end wins this big trophy. So I won't be in the worldwide one, but I'll be trying to win one for Midnight Rain, which is my team this year.
All right. And how many teams?
We only have 4 this year. In years past, there's been 180 to 210 people that do it in the gym, and I think this year we have bigger teams but less teams.
Wow.
But they'll do Friday night lights at the gym where you can sign up and like everyone cheers each other on. It'll be party atmosphere and drinking beer after. If you guys don't do anything on Friday, you should come swing by. You can watch me die. Everyone likes watching me suffer, so
That's true.
it's a pretty common.
Yeah, that was probably like my part of my demise in the fitness world, is that I didn't kind of get into the community aspect of it. I was always like training alone, and I was very systematic about what I chose and the fundamentals and nothing too crazy. And, it was always about just being faster on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do to be faster on the bike? And, I was like, if I was standing, I was trying to sit. If I was sitting, I was trying to lie down. I'm like, I did not want to put more energy into anything else besides what I needed to do. And CrossFit was just like too much work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, normally, because we have 3 styles of classes, and I see the programming every week, and you sign up for like a certain number of classes per week. I'll pick the ones that I think will translate the best to my bike, but it's not riding my bike, so it separates that training.
How's that change come like your season, like once you start riding?
Oh, I mean, I got so much faster by doing it.
Well, as in come like when you're spending more time on your bike.
I still go twice a week because
Okay,
I like
cool.
seeing everyone, and
Yeah.
it breaks it up that I never feel like I'm just riding to ride.
Mm.
Because there's definitely points in the summer, especially like August, where it's like, am I just out here at Luton Loops or Cannonsburg on Tuesday or Grill and Ride Thursday? Am I just doing it to do it? Because like it starts into July, beginning of August. It just
Dusty, dry,
starts
hot.
grinding, and
Yeah.
like the fall's the best time to ride, and you're just trying to make it to fall. Like I would make it till there's moisture in the dirt, and we can rip some turns, and then you start like, oh shoot, it's gonna snow soon. We better get out there and ride, and then it's easy to ride. But that dog days of summer is just terribleness, and like keeping my friends from the gym, I think really helps get through that thing. Like, I don't feel like riding. I'm gonna go to downtown and walk over to Founders or whatever after.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. Like, yeah, I'm just, the old man with the gym in his basement riding his rollers, just pulling his eyes out, intervals and,
Yeah.
cleans and, just very regimented.
A guest that we had on the podcast that he was actually there, we took him out mountain biking with us. It was a good time. He just moved down to Caledonia and built like a personal training thing in his pole barn back there, and he's like really getting into the high rocks racing and stuff. But he's like training people individually there, and then he's working at a gym down there. You should meet up with him because I think he's mountain bike curious.
Oh,
and road gravel bike curious a little bit. But like currently he's going to Worlds for high rocks. He's
wow.
Yeah, they got fourth in the world for CrossFit as a team. So he's still like, and he's 40, I think. He's around that same age, but it'd be a fun person to like have that competition with, push you a little bit harder.
Yeah. And it's funny because like I felt like, I liked pushing myself and sharpening my sword. Like that was what I wanted to sharpen the sword. It's easy for me to do a death march. Like I remember doing like a wall squat for like 9 minutes and 45 seconds. I probably could have kept going, but I was just like, the damage I'm doing to my body is just like not like, I mean, it's like I felt like I could push harder. Like my mind would allow me to push harder, but I wasn't conditioned enough to be able to recover from it. And the consequences of doing that like did not translate into like being any like stronger or better.
It's worth it if the person next to you only went for 9 minutes and 44 seconds.
That is true. That is absolutely true. Yeah. What is it one time like I wanted to remember what they call this, but when you pee blood from exercising too hard, what do they call that?
I don't remember, but Zach Bowinski used to have that problem.
Yeah, you just like turn yourself inside out and your kidney can't filter like, and you're like peeing blood, which is, you can go to the hospital and you can actually die from that, like that's happened to me once, just from like thinking that it's just, if anyone's going to be mentally strong enough, it's going to be me, when really it was just like my training wasn't right.
Yeah.
I needed to like, button some things up, maybe not go so hard so much, like I remember one time running the San Francisco Marathon without training and like doing it under like 4 hours. And I actually did 4 training runs. And the third training run, we went to go see Soundgarden. Like afterwards, like 22-mile run, and we're like general admission. My wife's like, Soundgarden, oh my God. I'm like dying. And I'm like stuck and my legs just hurt so bad. You're
on the floor too.
Yeah. Yeah. And she did not want to hear me complain, like you're such a downer. But I did think of my song Going to the Trailhead. Remember you guys were asking people that question. And I saw 9 Inch Nails in Grand Rapids this past Sunday night.
I saw a bunch of people that I went to high school with were there.
I didn't know they were here.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was so good. Like, I used to go see a lot of shows.
Yeah.
But that was like probably top 5.
Man.
Where was it at?
Van Andel.
Yeah.
And the sound was amazing. And I had like floor seats, which is cool, or floor like general admission. The production and the visuals and the sound. I mean, it was it is such a production, and they are touring, man. They're like got a show every night or every other night. And it is like crazy what they're pulling up. I don't know I know you guys like heavier like music.
Yeah.
Is 9 Inch Nails too soft for you guys?
No, I like 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
If I would have known they were around, I probably would have considered going.
It's amazing what the live performances can do. Like I've been following all the Warped tours, and like I'd played bands forever, and like to be able to like set a stage show to playing, like when we went and saw Falling in Reverse, like everything is set. And now with the invention of like these in-ear monitors and like these samplers, like everything is cued. So you could you hit the cue and you're playing, and basically you're just playing along with a music video. Like you're not really having to do much. And then like the amount of backing sound that gets put into, like say you're a 3-piece band or whatever, you'll have a backing track with the secondary vocals and the other guitar in there. And it just fills it. It makes the concert so much better for everyone. But a curmudgeon like an old school like touring guy'd be like, oh, it's cheating. It's basically lip syncing. But the I am very impressed with the production value of like modern concerts and stuff because they can bring in all those elements, and as long as you have the in-ear monitor that's keeping you on time, you can play a video that's got karaoke on it, or you could have the fire shoot out at the right time and stuff. Because before, like in the olden days, you would have like floor pedals and stuff to like trigger those things, and they wouldn't always work, or they wouldn't always do what they needed to do.
Well, you guys have to check out the YouTube for the Peel It Back tour. I mean, I know they have some like really amazing footage, but like 2 stages, you know, they're popping out from like, you know, the center of the whole auditorium with like, you know, I mean, it was just so cool. I mean, it was like, I'm still just like in awe over it. But that's what I drove to. I was actually listening to you guys come in here, but that's what I wanted to tell you about. When I'm driving to the trailhead, I'm like ripping some Nine Inch Nails.
Nice.
How does that show compare to the Eras tour?
Speaking of backing vocal.
Long story short, everybody's sick of hearing it, but my girlfriend
Everyone loves hearing it, for the record.
signed us up for a trip to Switzerland to go see Taylor Swift. And that was the impetus of the whole trip. And now I think everybody knows I'm a gigantic Taylor Swift fan.
That's awesome. So I hear her vinyl like collection is just like get vinyl there.
As a super fan, I definitely knew that.
Dude, like, supposedly, like, you know, her records are reselling for just crazy amounts, you know? And there's like different prints, different color schemes, you know?
I already knew
Pick
all
me
that.
up one,
Definitely,
dude.
yeah.
know?
I'll get everybody one.
He's serious enough that we've got a couple live streams coming up with people, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be able to make like the second half of March." And I was like, "Why are you going?" He's like, "Taylor Swift cruise," and it didn't even cross my mind that he was kidding. Like, I really thought he was doing it.
You gave it a beat. You're like, and then I'm like, no, definitely not.
Got me.
But
Hey, I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, you know, I mean, that's cool.
I mean, there's worse cruises to go on.
for sure. There's
Colin's going on a Disney cruise.
probably a lot of ladies on that cruise, I would imagine.
You think?
On the Taylor Swift cruise, probably.
They might not like men, though. Not
No.
like they don't like boys, but like they don't want you there.
Yeah.
You don't want you there wrecking their time.
Especially, I can't even name a damn song.
You can sing them, though. I've heard you sing them.
How do they go?
I don't know.
Lies.
I'm drunk in the back of a car. Yeah.
That's my favorite one. It's Cruel Summer. I know that.
All right. I'm sorry. We just went from 9 Inch Nails to Taylor Swift. I'm pretty sure that's the first time that's ever happened.
All right. To save you, I'll get this back on track here. You brought us a bunch of coffee sitting in front of us.
Yeah.
So you moved from Montana from a bed and breakfast to Michigan,
Yeah.
and now you are roasting your own coffee.
So I was roasting coffee in San Francisco. I had like a home roaster. I started with a popcorn popper. You know, you can actually, anyone can roast coffee. I mean, you buy green beans. You can, like in Ethiopia, their coffee ceremony is like in a frying pan, like roadside.
Green coffee beans.
Green coffee
Don't
beans.
go out and buy snap beans. Put them in a popcorn maker.
Yep. And yeah, they grind it right there, and they have this like coffee ceremony. But anyone can like roast coffee at home, you know?
So we're talking the popcorn maker that looks like a pot, and then it's got the little agitator
that
in
is
the
like
bottom.
called the whirly pop. Yep, you can do it with that. People do it in a frying pan. People have modified barbecues. They have home roasting devices that you can do like small amounts. But that's how I started. And being on the West Coast, that's one of the major ports for importing coffee. So I would ride my bike by this place called Sweet Maria's. I go in and talk to them. I buy 5 pounds at a time, put it in my backpack, and ride up into the hills of Oakland and roast coffee for myself. And it was like so much better than like store-bought stuff, because it was like just so fresh, and you know, like you just love that you did it, like you made it, you know. And then when we moved to Montana, I was like, oh man, how great would it be to roast for the bed and breakfast? Like my dream was like to roast for the lodge, but I can't do it with my own homemade, like, or home popper or whatever I was roasting on at the time. So I found a really beautiful San Franciscan, like American-made coffee roaster right on the border of Canada. And the only reason why I got this thing was because I was so close to Canada and no one could go get it. So I drove over there and I talked my wife into letting me buy it, and I bought this thing and I brought it home. I knew like nothing about it. And I was just like, oh man, like, did I make the right decision here? So I had to convert it from natural gas to propane. And when I did that, I shorted the whole thing. And
I
now
picture you using this in your tent while you're living off grid.
So I didn't have it when we were living in the tent. But now I had this super expensive like roaster I bought used, and it didn't work.
Oh no.
And I spent a lot of money on this thing that I didn't have.
What'd you do?
So I was like, could I put it on a crate and send it back to San Francisco and have them fix it? Oh, that's like going to cost me as much as it cost me to fix this or to buy this thing. So I called my buddy who was an electrical engineer, and he was like, let's FaceTime. For 3 hours, we FaceTime, and he's like, replace the solenoid, replace the intermittent pilot lighter, replace the transformer, and he's like, take lots of videos. And keep in mind, like, I was just like a personal trainer. I knew shit about nothing. I knew nothing. And
Your buddy was like, we're going to go to this place. It's called Harbor Freight. And you're going to find a soldering iron.
This was all on the phone. This is all on the phone. And, you know, it's so funny because I'm like working on this thing between like working the lodge, and my wife would be like, how's it going down there? And I just would like lose my shit. I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, cause I knew the pressure of not being able to fix this thing, but I ended up getting it to work. And my buddy wasn't there. He was all on the phone, which was awesome. That gave me the confidence to kind of tackle a lot of things. So started roasting for the lodge, started doing like tableside, like pour over service with like this beautiful sourdough bread. And I started selling tickets and doing coffee flights, like highlighting different regions. And so it really like kind of became a thing. I started selling these subscriptions to the guests. And when we decided to put the lodge up for sale, I'm like, all right, now's my time to drive this subscription business so I can take it with me. But the lodge sold so quick, like I didn't really have a chance to kind of like build that book of business like I wanted. But I took the roaster with me. It was like my stereo equipment, and my roaster was in my truck. That's all I had. I forgot like
no bikes.
No bikes.
Oh
no bikes. And at this point, like biking was on the back burner. I mean, I had my 2 cross bikes, and I sold my mountain bikes. And the idea was once we sold the business, I would get a new mountain bike. And I did when we moved here. And I think it's, pretty awesome. But yeah, and I kept my book of business that I built in Montana, and slowly kind of starting to like build my book of business here with, roasting, which has been super cool. It's been all like, word of mouth.
Yeah.
I don't have like my whole thing is like I don't spend the money on the marketing. I don't spend the money on the bags. Like it's like you get to know your roaster. You get to like come over and talk and share coffee and have like an experience that a lot of these coffee shops can't give, but they give the idea that you're like kind of buying into like what they do. And there's some amazing roasters in Grand Rapids. I mean, like really cool people who've welcomed me into the scene and buy from Artisan, and I have a ton of respect that they share their craft with me and secrets, and we talk coffee. But I am not them. I'm not trying to be them. I'm wanting to share like what I do at a reasonable price point, and just love doing what I'm doing. I don't want it to be like a job. So
Yeah.
And we were, as always happens, we talk too much before we even get started.
Yeah. We politely told you to shut up.
very polite, by the way.
3 times.
What stood out to me as I was stuffing my face with sourdough and butter was the extra effort and care that goes into sourcing this coffee. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. Well, I think for people who like know me, like I don't want to just do. Like it's like kind of like an all-in kind of thing. So working for Artisan Imports part-time next to my Good Medicine coffee, I get access to beautiful coffees, and I get to pick the coffees that I want to carry. And I can tell you literally the day that these coffees were harvested, which is pretty amazing, to have that sort of like traceability. And so because I have that access, and it's really hard to find good quality coffee consistently. I can't tell you how many times I've, bought a 130-pound bag of coffee, and it just be kind of like okay.
And can it vary pretty wildly, even in the same location?
Yeah.
Just depends on the farm, or I guess.
So just like within wine, coffee is scored. So there's a universal language with how when people buy coffee, they cup coffees, which is how you assess coffees, and you score them. So, you know, that's a way that importers can talk to roasters to, you know, I guess, translate the quality compared to the cost. So like a 87 point coffee is going to be more expensive than like an 85 point coffee, you know? So all these are beautiful, high quality coffees. And it's funny because I'll share this coffee with someone who's not really into coffee, and they're going to be like, tastes like coffee. You know, I'm like, yeah, it is, you know? But what makes coffee special is, you know, the acidity like adds to the cup. It doesn't like, oh God, take away and like kind of give you heartburn, right? When you finish taking a sip, it's the aftertaste, the mouthfeel, like how it lingers, the flavors linger. When you sip it, like you can actually taste the layers of what like makes up those tasting notes. And that's for this light roast. And even half of my business is darker roasted coffee, and I try to kind of give that same experience with dark roasted coffee. You know, a lot of people think like, oh man, dark roast coffee, they just burn the shit out of it and call it coffee. You know, like I'm using the same quality coffee and, you know, roasting it my way where you can still taste like where it's from and the story. And when you take a photo of that QR code, you see the people who grew that coffee and the story behind it and the details. So make a long story short, very high quality coffee. It's a really good deal because I don't have a storefront. All e-commerce, you know, I don't spend money on marketing. It's just me. So my niche is getting people who want to learn more and get into coffee and understand more about the world of coffee because it's a steep learning curve. I want to be that avenue for them. So I can't tell you how many people will go to a fancy roaster and just buy whatever it is and not really know anything about it. And, you know, that's nothing wrong with that, you know, but it's nice to kind of like, you know why.
Yeah. No, I can tell you put a lot of effort into it. Just looking at some of these bags, like you have the name of where it came from, like the roasted on date. This was roasted on 2/21. Well, today's the 25th, so that was 4 days ago. So it's, you know, it's pretty fresh as far as that goes. But you have like the elevation that the beans came from.
Yeah.
Like just all those little details that would make that coffee.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because everyone talks about like fresh roasted coffee. I don't think coffee, like good coffee, hits its peak until 2 to 4 weeks after it's roasted.
Why is that?
So those beans encapsulate like carbon dioxide. So when it's freshly roasted, those beans have to degas. So if you ever do like a pour over, or if it's really, really fresh coffee and you go to like put it in your coffee maker, it will overflow and make a huge mess because it just bubbles up. All those beans just start bubbling over, like, because it's too much carbon dioxide and it just, you know, it boils over. So, and that carbon dioxide, they call it the bloom, actually adds a flavor to the cup. So think of it as kind of like I guess what do you call it? Like a bell curve, right? Right when it's roasted, it's not all that good, but 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's at the peak, and then it'll start to kind of like fall off. You know?
2 questions.
Yeah.
What's your preferred brew method?
I had that question.
And then the other thing I'm very curious about is, do the beans, when they're still in their raw form, tell you what roast you're going to put on them?
So good question. And so my preferred method is probably the V60. It's like a pour over method. And I think that, you know, it's funny. I don't think it's necessarily the best, but I probably do it the most. And I feel like I can manage and experiment and really feel like I can come back to normal with that. And that like sort of tinkering is what makes making that cup of coffee really special. So the V60, I also love a Chemex. If I'm, you know, my wife and I will share, you know, a cup of coffee, we'll do a big Chemex. But getting green beans and understanding what to do with them is part of the art of buying coffee. I actually belong to a roasting club, and all these coffee professionals from around the world, we use each other as resources when we're sourcing coffee. Varietals of coffee tend to do really well at certain things and others don't.
What does that mean?
So like, let's say these are Bourbon varietals, and they can take heat. They can go further along in the roasting process. But naturals, like these are washed Bourbons. Sorry, these are natural Bourbons, washed Bourbons. You can take darker. Naturals you can't because it's going to be sweeter. The sugars, the coffee cherry, like if you look on the other side, you see those little berries, right? So a natural, they'll leave that cherry or the fruit on the coffee bean, and those sugars embed into the skin of the coffee bean. And just like when cooking, sugars can burn. So you can't roast a natural dark. The kaffa, you can I probably take it a little bit because it's not like a really, really fruity coffee, but you experiment. I have a tiny little, like, commercial sample roaster that can do 50 to 100 grams, and I can tinker with coffees that way. But it's, when you're buying coffee, sometimes you only get 50 or 100 grams of sample to make a decision with.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's an art, like anyone can roast at home, but like what makes a coffee professional is figuring that stuff out, is like knowing that sort of stuff.
How much do you roast all at once? Because you're a small batch.
Yeah. So I probably do 5 pounds at a time.
Okay.
And like the month end is when my busiest time is. So I'll be roasting for like 3 days straight.
Are you still using this roaster you bought and broke and fixed? That's still your main? Yeah.
Have you had to call your buddy again?
No. But luckily now I feel like I have the resources to help me understand. And it's a vintage machine. Like just like with anything, like an old car, you can get in there and you can like pull things apart and go to Harbor Freight and pick up equipment or plumbing departments, and all the newer stuff, you can't do that. It's all proprietary, and they want their, mechanic out there you got to fly them out there to work on it. And I can't tell you how many times I've talked to roasters that are just like beating their head against the wall because this brand new roaster's like not working how they want it to work.
Too many sensors, too much plastic.
Yeah. Microchips, all that stuff,
So from a real coffee connoisseur like yourself, is there something people will do their coffee or put in a coffee, they'll ruin it? Like you go to a fancy steakhouse, somebody's like, I want ketchup with my steak.
Okay, so
is there something you're like, no?
Like
I get this question a lot.
You dick.
So
all that work and you put French vanilla creamer
He
in
puts
there.
A1 on like fancy freaking fillets. I want to kill him sometime.
So it's funny because who am I to tell anyone how they need to be drinking their coffee, right? Because like there's so many different types of coffee drinkers, and everyone likes their own thing, and I'm cool with that. But if anyone wants to really kind of up their game, like the water that they're using is a big deal, and the grind is a big deal. Like, so those are the two things, because you can buy a beautiful bag of coffee, and if your water chemistry is all off, it's going to taste like shit.
So what's the best water to use then?
So I don't want to come. I might listen to this and be like, oh my God, why did I talk about that? So it's like I'm talking about water, but like, so I'll use like reverse osmosis water, and I'll add minerals into that to like change the flavor of my coffee. So magnesium, calcium chloride, and basically sea salt.
So that enables different things to come out in the flavor profile of the coffee at the end of it.
And like Third Wave Water is a company that sells packets. They're a big one. And depending on how you like, what kind of coffee you like dark roast coffee, they'll put a little bit of baking soda in it to take the edge off the coffee and make it not so sharp. Yeah, pretty cool. But then also grind. A lot of people have blade grinders, and that's like the worst thing you can do. I'd rather grind a coffee for someone and ship it across the country, right, than have them grind it in a blade grinder.
What's the other style?
Like a burr.
Gotcha.
So a blade grinder, when you push the button, it goes, like you're getting coffee dust, right, and coffee chunks, big coffee chunks, and everything in between. The dust is going to clog your filter, so now extraction is way longer, right, and then the large coffee chunks, they're like too big to really extract coffee. So you have this kind of like bitter, like water, so a burr grinder, all the chunks are the same size, consistent extraction.
Dang, if I would have known you ground coffee too. I would have got some for the girlfriend. We don't have a coffee grinder at home. That was the problem.
Dude, that was like, then just, I'll see you again, man. I'll make it right. That's the nice thing about knowing your roaster is like, have like, dude, I want to take care of you. I want to get you stoked on coffee.
Well, one quick question, just because you said that word. I have a friend that was a like real high level BMXer that moved out to Monterey, California, and started a coffee shop. There's about a 2% chance you know who it is.
Yeah.
But have you ever heard of Captain Stoker in Monterey?
No.
Damn. They do a good job. And I know people that listen to this podcast, like Pat Ellis and stuff, like rock the jersey, and they like have bike jerseys and stuff for everyone.
Well, the cool thing about riding bikes is you have that common denominator, right? So like I'll reach out to him and share some of like the access to my coffee I get,
Yeah, Tyler's super good kid.
Yeah.
Kind of came from like I'd say the wrong side of the tracks in Grand Haven. There is a small section, but like his drive and determination like made him super good. And like he was one of those people that I took up the Copper Ridge downhill riding for the first time, and he just like destroyed everybody. It was like a Dakota Norton before Dakota Norton. Like kind of came from that like kind of rough backing, and then like had to work for it hard. And
that's super cool.
I'd bring him with me to like Chicago to the skate park and all these things, and he'd be one of those people like, I'm gonna do a 540 flare. He's like a 16-year-old kid.
You're like, have you done that before? No, I've seen somebody do it though.
Yeah, and he would just do it. And you're like, ugh. Now he rides for Canyon now, but yeah, Pat. That's who Pat goes and visits out there.
Cool.
And lives in Monterey.
Yeah.
Oh.
Him and his girlfriend moved out there in an RV with their cat and started a coffee shop, and it does really well out there.
That's super cool.
And I meant to ask that at some point. It's on my list, but just because you said Stoke, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say though is like your passion for what you do and stuff. Offer you a sponsorship deal on air. You tell people to listen to us sometimes, and we'll do your live read at the beginning of the episode.
Well,
we like seeing other people that are passionate about things like locally succeed. Like every person that we back on every podcast episode is a local business owner that has that same kind of passion that like moves things on, and that's what we read. We could get like gloves, or we could get whatever jersey, but no, we're at 513 because the local person that has heart and soul into local community. We've got 8th Day, same thing. We've got Building Blocks. We've got the grilling company now.
Yeah, like their mission, like what they stand for.
Golf 616. So we'd like to
thank you.
Add you to our repertoire in the beginning. You just can't listen to us read it the first time.
Which will be tonight.
Well, thank you for that, and that's awesome. And that's probably been one of the coolest things about moving to this area is that everyone's been like super welcoming and like very like thoughtful and mindful about like how they spend their money and the business supporting small businesses. I mean, that's like, I think that's awesome. I mean, I also work from home and don't get out that much. So I'm sure there's a whole population that's like not like that, but it's nice. I like to surround myself with like-minded people who have that mission. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
What's the number one tip for somebody who just has, let's say it's a drip brewer?
Let's just say it's this model in my place in Traverse City.
Is a burr grinder the number one thing you should get if you want to start experiencing your coffee better? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, totally. And you can get them on Facebook Marketplace like super cheap, like you use $30. And I always tell people like make friends with the people at the local coffee shop. I think a lot of times they're just kind of like over like just the general public, but they want to share their passion. I mean, coffee people like want to tell you what they're excited about, and just to pass on that kind of excitement, I think is super important. So just making relationships, like having that conversation, I feel like in a way, like life is kind of moving away from that because everything's so like internet based, and I want to kind of not lose sight of that, like that special touch.
Yeah, like bike people like to talk about bikes. Coffee people like to talk about coffee.
Mm-hmm.
CrossFit people like to talk about CrossFit.
Here.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, people love talking about what they're passionate about.
Yeah. And I didn't really talk about bikes that much. You know, like,
Yeah.
God, how much time? What time do we have to be out of here by?
How long do you think we've been going?
I don't even know.
I
can carry on
We're
pretty
at
good.
an hour and 26 minutes.
Wow.
Right? yeah.
Yeah.
That's just what happens.
Yeah.
Start rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy it every second.
Yeah, we didn't know much about you
Oh.
at all until like today. We started researching a little bit about you, but you're just one of those people that is good to talk to. I could keep talking to you for another hour about stuff. But
And I never told you about like my commuting in San Francisco by bike for like 20 plus years and all the crazy shit that happened to me there. I never told you about like
well, give
the
us
time
a
I almost
quick,
got eaten
give
by
us a
bears.
quick 5-minute story.
All right. So one of the highlights was, I'll tell you this Montana story once, right? So inside North Fork Road in Glacier, you know that road? Like so there's North Fork, which goes from Pole Bridge to like Columbia Falls. And then there's inside North Fork, which it's in Glacier Park. And it's just like they parallel each other on the side of the river. So gravel riders want to ride inside North Fork because there's no cars and it's like 25 miles, 26 miles. And you end up at this like super cool like town of Polebridge, like where the general stores, the post office, and, you know, big Huckleberry, everything, right? So my wife was like, today you have a window, go ride inside North Fork Road. I look outside, it's like 50 degrees and like raining. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go do it anyway. You know, so I pack up the car, I drive out there, and I park. I ride 7 miles in, and I see the inside North Fork Road gate says closed. And I'm like sitting there like, you know, in California, just jump over it. I mean, what is that, tree down? Like, what is it, like a mudslide across the road or something? You know, like what and I'm literally like, this is my one chance. Like, I need to do this. And all of a sudden, like BLM and Forest Service like pull up, and they don't even acknowledge me. And I go up to them like, hey, so why is the road closed? Oh, we've been planting animal carcasses down the road to attract all the bear out of the park. And I was just like, get the fuck out. Could you imagine bombing down, like just getting after it, and all of a sudden coming up, like all the things you don't want to do with a bear. Startle it, come up on its food source, right? Like, yeah. So I'm just turned around and was
And it's
like,
probably
yep, not
mama with
happening
cubs.
today.
Yeah.
Right? Not happening today.
Imagine if they didn't tell you that, and you're just like, oh, there's a dead animal. There's another one. There's another one. Then seeing a bear ahead of you, and you're just like, oh no.
Oh, dude.
That's a good training plan, though. you really want to get those watts up.
Dude, right?
Just
Yeah.
a serial killer bear killing everything in sight.
Yeah. Yeah, that was probably like one of the, like, oh, wow, that's kind of a crazy story.
400 watts for 7 miles back out.
I'll know if you bring me on a group ride and I start seeing carcasses, and they only brought me so I could be in last place.
So inside North Fork Road, you got to ride that if you go back there. Super cool. It's a point to point, but there'll be people that will shuttle you back and forth.
Pretty recent to the gravel thing. It's a pretty new thing.
You know, and like, and then, man, there's some killer mountain biking there too. Like the bummer about like, they have a lot of purpose-built stuff, you know, which is a lot of flow, a lot of the kind of like, you know, the same, right? But once you get into the backcountry and you get some of those like Columbia Falls, it's A7, like Alpine Trail 7. I mean, you get like a 3,000 foot descent of just like rock, you know, like steeps. And then you got that 3,000 foot like climb. You know, I mean, it is like pretty freaking amazing. When you get out there, it's like you are out there, man. Like you got to be able to get out, you know?
Yeah, not only is it a rowdy trail, you're in the middle of freaking nowhere.
And that's what's interesting also about like e-bikes. Now all of a sudden these people have access to these super remote places that probably shouldn't be out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm all for more people on bikes. I'm all for like, you know, I understand like the fitness that comes with like not having to push that. I mean, I can see all that, but you've lost the etiquette and now you're out places that you really shouldn't be, you know? But
No
yeah.
supplies, no nothing, and possibly a dead battery. It's a
Right.
tough scenario.
Yeah.
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 50-pound bike, walking it.
Or probably a rental and they just leave it there. It's not their problem.
I didn't even think of that option.
Yeah, right. But anyway, I don't want to keep you guys, man. I'm just stoked to be here. To share with you guys. And,
we appreciate having you come on. We'd love hearing all your stories. Before we let you go, then, anything you want to plug?
Anything you want to plug?
Where can we find your coffee? Where can we find?
Yeah, so Good Medicine Coffee. That's my thing.
Is it on social media? What's the best way for people to buy? Is it a website?
It's a website, and I'm really kind of focused on trying to be better at my social media stuff. It's the one thing I don't want to do, but
me too.
I'm trying. Is that something you're really?
We're
good
all
at?
horrific at social
Yeah.
media, all
Yeah.
three of us.
We had a shenanigan last live stream.
It's someone's job to be good at it, and they're not.
Always improving, right?
Right? Yeah, right. Always improving. Yeah. So that's been
Never said how fast I got improved. I'm always improving.
right. Yeah. Just gotta kind of. So I'm working on it. So yeah, I have an Instagram page. I have a Facebook page. The website, super cool. And if anyone says that they heard of Good Medicine on your show, dude, I'll hook them up somehow.
Nice.
I'll take care of them. I want I want to be doing what I do with intention, and that is what gets me excited about riding bikes, coffee, cooking. It's life's too short, man.
These organic things is one of the best reasons, or one of the main reasons we do this stuff. We were telling you the story of how we ended up at the Vi 13 studios. I met Gary through someone else. We started talking. He was super cool. I'm like, we need to get you on a microphone and talk. And then next thing you know, we're here interviewing him here. And he's like, hey, you blokes want to stay? And we're like, yes.
This is awesome. This is a super cool spot.
And for you were James suggested you. He's listened for a while. I delivered I think I moved his pool table. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, now it's all coming together. Okay.
Yeah, and I think I met you randomly at a trailhead with him one day too.
Oh yeah. Where I had that big mushroom in my shirt.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. I had this huge basketball size puffball mushroom I found.
Is that Luton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, we were talking as I was moving his pool table. I saw a berm in his backyard, and then that berm led to, oh, you do a podcast? I would listen to it, and then he'd come into the store, and we'd talk about it. He's like, oh, I got this friend. He just moved here from San Francisco, big biker. You guys should have him on. And, I mean, we're always, every time someone suggests someone, we're not, hyper-focused on doing, a certain type of thing anymore. So it's, let's hear some stories. Let's talk to new people. Let's expand our social circles, and let's meet new businesses. And we didn't have you on because we're like, oh, we're gonna do Good Medicine Coffee.
Yeah.
It just these organic things that happen are the benefit of doing something like this.
I've really enjoyed listening to your podcast, right? Because being new to the area and the people that you're connecting with, the other businesses, the mountain bike association meeting that you guys did. I mean, it was really cool to hear the work that people have put into what they're doing, and just, it's inspiring me to get involved and to do more, to be a part of that. So, I mean, hats off to you guys, because this is from what limited stuff that I do, I know this is not easy, and a lot of work goes in after the fact, and I'm super impressed. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Hats off to Brian. He does all the back end edits. This one will be edited lightly.
Yeah, hats off from me for social media.
I just show up and talk about Taylor Swift.
Someone's got to be the pretty face. I get it, man.
Craig asked the insightful questions. Kellen and I are asking about fart jokes and stuff. And Craig would be asked something. There was 2 times today that it was a super insightful question. Oh, that's why you're here. That was way above my pay grade.
We've had so much fun having you on.
Oh,
Thanks
man.
for coming.
I'm stoked to go ride with you guys.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And that's motivation for me to keep on it, so I don't, just make a goon out of myself trying to keep up. You know?
We have enough bikes between us to get you to Boyne, and you'll have an awesome time up in Harbor Springs.
Yeah, I'm down. You know,
Perfect.
I'm down.
Well, yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for telling us your life story and your coffee and all the stuff. We really appreciate hearing
Yeah,
it.
my pleasure. Absolutely.
And sourdough.
And sourdough. Yeah, thanks for snacks.
Oh, dude.
Snacks and drinks.
Hell yeah.
To be made yet drinks. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for all you guys listening. And like always, guys, remember to keep progressing, keep pushing yourself, and have fun.
You.
See ya.